What is up, guys? Welcome back to the KickAsh Podcast, partnered, of course, with One True Sport via Brass Ring Media. Good morning, good morning. It is Saturday morning, the 11th already in January 2025. It's insane. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I was setting up my little display here on my phone, and I try to keep another feed going on my phone just to make sure nothing's too crazy. And it's I think it's like when there was like 2 seconds left on here, it was like still at 18 seconds. So I didn't realize it was that much of a delay. But technology's cool. But what up? What up? Good morning. Good morning. And I see we already have people in the chat. What's up, Maria, Fernando, E? What's up? What's up? And Sean, man. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It's it's shadow clock. Yeah, it's always somewhere, right? What up, CV? What up? What up? Good morning, guys. We will be talking, of course, some Smackdown, but I also want to talk about some AEW as well. I feel like a lot of talk has been on WWE lately, of course, with the debut on Netflix and stuff like that, and it's going to be even heavier getting picked up into WrestleMania season as we get closer to the Rumble. But there's definitely been some developments on SmackDown, nothing too major. It was an okay show. I will just say I am very excited they're going back to the 3-hour format because, yeah, SmackDown just feels better as a 2-hour show. Just something, it's so crazy too, because like obviously both WWE shows, right? But it's just crazy how Raw feels more okay being a 3-hour show, but SmackDown for whatever reason, man, like it just is not a drag, or it wasn't a bad show at all, but it's just there's something about that 2-hour show for SmackDown, that 2-hour format, for me just flows a little bit better. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I think they said it's like June, I believe, is when they're going back to the 2-hour format of SmackDown. I think it was something with USA. They didn't have programming or something, or they just needed, I don't know. They just needed, I guess, just some content to fill. So, and obviously WWE and USA have had a dope relationship for decades. So they're probably just helping each other out. And it's not going to kill us, right? And for that matter, it's if it's going to happen, it's kind of like the best portion of the year, the beginning of, like I said, WrestleMania season, going into the Rumble, obviously the build to Mania, and then which is going to be April 19th and 20th, ironically, great dates. And then what is it? 4 months after that, leading into SummerSlam. So that'll actually be, and not even because it'll be going until June. So that'll actually be I guess a decent time for them to fill that 3-hour format. But I missed the 2 hours for sure. Yeah, Sean. Yes, man. And I saw your message, man. I got home late and I kind of passed out when I was watching SmackDown. Speaking of, because I was watching it on my phone. But yeah, what up, Eddie? Good morning. Good morning. So I guess we'll just kind of lead off with SmackDown, and just since we're already on the WWE train, we'll just kind of take care of that. Get a few pieces of business out of the way. If you are not subscribed already to One True Sport on YouTube, I don't know how you're here, because that's the main way you would find the show, right? A lot of you guys who are tuning in, and thank you for that, are diehards to the show. So thank you for that. If you're watching on YouTube or via X, Twitter, whatever you call it, we appreciate that and thank you for that. But definitely subscribe to One True Sport. Brass Ring Media still also has a YouTube presence as well. Posting video clips, but all the live feeds are going to be through One True Sport on YouTube. So definitely subscribe there for both, so you get content from both. And you can subscribe to my little channel here as well on YouTube. We just hit 420 subscribers over there, which I was pretty excited about. The channel's grown like a lot in the past like month and a half. I think it was something like 150 subscribers or some shit. I can cuss in here, some shit like that. But yeah, so it's just dope. And then, like I've said before, I'm not really, probably shouldn't say this on this show, but I'm not really one for like pushing to monetize or anything like that. Like, to me, it's just dope having a little community here, and little community for KickAsh Podcast, but not quite so little here for One True Sport. They've definitely done some work and put boots to the ground, right? And have a great following. So I'm very honored to be here. So just want to get all that out of the way. And of course, follow all the handles on Twitter. It's always going to be Twitter to me. guys, yeah, I know this is a wrestling podcast, but and not to get political or anything like that, but it's crazy that TikTok, I just had an ad pop up here, is going to be banned soon here in the U.S. I don't know where some of you guys stream from outside the U.S., but it's crazy. I have a little TikTok channel, or I guess page or whatever for my KickAsh podcast thing, where I just post random, like not even. If you guys think I'm not active on Twitter, I'm even least active on TikTok. I just post like little random videos or whatever, and it's just crazy. Like it's crazy. I've gotten a good amount of followers from it or whatever, but it's crazy that it could potentially be banned if they don't make any changes. They just had a meeting on it in Supreme Court, but yeah, it just popped up. So, and it's wrestling related because, like I said, my page on there, I've gotten a few followers from it, and actually, um, it's really cool because it's almost like a different wrestling type of community over there. I feel like it's a lot more casual fans over there. But yeah, just little, I guess, not even an important tidbit there, but what up, JD? Who? What up? E. You're funny, bro. Oh man. CB, yes. The first show for me was officially last week. This is a very new partnership. So yeah, this is second week running. So I appreciate you popping in and appreciate you commenting, man. Thank you. And like the video, guys, if you feel ever so inclined as well. Especially here, I don't push it as much on KickAsh Podcast as much as I should. But definitely here for One True Sport. If you guys would be able to, it definitely helps the algorithm and gets the channel out there and builds a community up more, which is, like I was saying, it's dope. So that's like kind of my mindset getting into all this is just meeting new wrestling fans, man, and just kind of interacting with people. That's always the fun part for me because met a lot of dope people through wrestling. So that's my main focus. But yeah, JD Hoops 702, what up? Rockin', congrats, man. Thanks. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Eddie. All right, but let's get back to SmackDown here. I'm gonna scroll back up a little bit. Sean, you've been under the weather, man. Sorry to hear that, bro. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better. Yeah, it's the weather here. It's been. I mean, I'm not even gonna say it's been cold because it's been snowing and crazy in other places. It's been colder. But then it randomly got warm and just my allergies been kind of getting to me. But I hope you feel better, Sean. I hope all you guys are good out there. All you guys are feeling good out there. Yeah, Sean, you said you're glad they're going back to 2 hours as well. The talent isn't over enough, and it did feel like it dragged a little bit. Yeah, man, and I would think, especially for SmackDown, is like I was kind of saying a little bit earlier, um, it's not even a lack of talent. You know what I mean? It's just a lack of build for the talent, and I think that's what we should. And it's hard because it's like when like you want to say like, oh yeah, after WrestleMania or whatever, we can focus on like the building of new talent and stuff like that. But then it's just yes, but it almost feels like there's never really a good time. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, there's never going to be a good time, so just start now. And I think they are. I think they have been working with like Michin, for instance, Mia Yim. I think they have tried to put more shine on her, and I think they will be putting more focus on the women's division going forward, especially with the U.S. Championship and then the IC title that we're going to get crowned on Monday between Dakota Kai and Valkyria. And I think that's going to be a really good match too. I hope Dakota wins that one. I really hope she wins. I think Lyra has plenty of time to really establish herself and to really kind of build more momentum, that cliche word. But I think Dakota, man, I think you really need to pull the trigger on Dakota now. I think that she's just such a good talent and she's one of those underrated ones. Yes, she's not the strongest on the mic or anything like that, but that's okay. Like not all of your men's talent are either, and you still put focus on them too. So, and why not? If you put some shine on her for 3-6 months and you really put your time into it and it doesn't work, then you tried and that's okay, and then maybe you could tweak some things and you just go from there. But I think to your point, Sean, about like the talent not being over, I think I think at least for the women's division, they're trying to put more focus on that. And I'm hopeful for the tag division too, but we'll see, man. Always do that. Always shut the lid. Oh, CB. All right. You say I think Kevin Owens is going to win the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble because a leader, or I guess ladder match is supposed to be, ladder match gives Cody Rhodes an out if he gets fucked over. And it's great to be able to say that word here. It's great. And it's funny you say Luigi. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because it reminds me of an autocorrect that I was just texting my friend. Her dog's name is Duchess, so I typed Duchess, and then right before or right after I hit send, I realized I autocorrected it to Furhead. I was like, "The fuck, like Furhead?" But okay. So that I'm just laughing with you, man. But yeah, dude, and I've been saying this, man. I wish, and this is coming from a big Cody Rhodes fan. Cody is right up there for me, right up there with Punk, I guess, as my favorites at this point. Punk's my guy, but Cody's probably like a 1B, you know, and has been for years at this point. I just, I would love for Kevin to beat Cody. I'm right there with you, man. If I had to make an official prediction right now, I still don't see them pulling the title off of Cody before Mania. I think they want him to go Mania to Mania, at least kind of get that accolade under his belt, and then maybe kind of go from there and weigh into more possibility that he could lose the title. But I just don't think they're gonna do it. But I would love it. I would love if they pulled the trigger, man. And even if it was short, like even if for whatever reason you didn't want Kevin to go into WrestleMania with the title, if it was just into Elimination Chamber, because isn't that the one that's going to be in Toronto? I think Elimination Chamber, is that the one that's going to be in Toronto? 2025, it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, so you could, man, you could, but would you really want him to lose, you know? And I know he's not from Toronto proper, but Canada, you know, and not to say one can, you know, if you're from Canada, you're from Canada, but it's, you know, because I don't know the logistics and the exact geography, but I do know, like, I'm not going to say beef because I don't want to start anything, but I do know there's, like, I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, to, like, I guess, dumb it down for me, American. It would be like just assuming that, oh, just because if you're from Florida, but you're actually like if you're from Florida and another person is from like Virginia, whatever, like oh you're just all from America, and like just because you have a show in America like that, you're like the hometown guy. So like it's not to be like kind of just like a blanket statement like that, but Canada specifically, like if you're from Canada, like yeah, like you have that hometown support, man. Like they're gonna back you. So I don't know, like, could you imagine, like, if they did have Kevin beat Cody at the Rumble and then had him lose it in Canada? That'd be terrible. It would also, or not also, but it would almost rather make more sense to have, if you were going to do something crazy like that and shake up the title scene before Mania, to have, and I don't even know how they would run it back at this point, because that'd be what, 3, 4 matches? Um, I know this is at least 2. Would it be the third or the fourth? But how would they have another match at the Chamber? You know, Kevin and Cody, Kevin and Cody, like I know them first name basis. But man, like, could you imagine if Kevin beat Cody Rhodes for the title in Canada? Man, like that would just be dope. But yeah, man. So I wish, I wish he would beat Cody just because no one would be expecting it, but I don't see it before Mania. All right, just going through the chat here. Just want to make sure I touch on some stuff here from SmackDown before we kind of get into a little bit more. Bum. You're funny, bro. They could do that. They really hurt. Yeah. Sean, I think you're referring to something with here we go. It's probably from CB's chat. If it's Rock that fucks Cody Rhodes over at Rumble, we could get The Rock versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Okay, so kind of like piggybacking off of your first statement there. Yeah, man. So That would be wild. That would be wild. And it would kind of, because I'm gonna put some time into this one. It could kind of make sense too. Make sense is giving it um too much allowance, because just kind of backtracking really quick. I made like a little video on my channel on KickAsh Podcast, but I did not like The Rock's appearance on Raw. I thought that it was way more counterproductive than it needed to be. I get, like, if you want him to be like the corporate guy, it's a big night, it's a celebratory night, cool. Could have done all that, left Cody Rhodes out of it. Didn't even need to acknowledge him, didn't need to reference him at all, you know? You could have shown Cody sitting in the crowd later that evening or after The Rock had left or whatever. The beatdown that The Rock gave to Cody, you know, that infamous now scene when he beat down the Rock, when he beat down Cody in front of his tour bus and made him all bloody with the rain and all that. It was such a great scene, you know, such a great visual and everything with the weight belt, all that good stuff. The Mama Rhodes on the weight belt, it got very personal, right? And then of course we know what happened at Mania. But and for that matter, for what was it, in October, so 3 months ago ish, The Rock shows up at Bad Blood and does the three, you know, whatever. And we're just supposed to act like all that didn't happen. And The Rock is just like, yeah, Cody, thanks for putting the company on your back for the past year. Like, first of all, like, they've been struggling too. Like putting the company on the back. Like, yeah, that obviously that's what you do when you're the champion. Like, you're carrying the company through good times and bad times, right? But it was just very odd. And I think he has referenced it, but honestly, I haven't seen it. Just being fair, but I wasn't a fan of it. I didn't like it, and then to make matters worse, they were backstage. Oh, and then too, of course, when he mentioned the whole Mama Rose thing, The Rock, Cody's just laughing it up with the fans, just kind of laughing it up, like, "Oh, you're so funny, Rock. Yeah, like Mama Rose." Like, no, dude, like that's your mom, man. Like, what? Like, she's all you have left, bro. Like, really? Like, I don't know. I was not feeling that at all. At all. And then show them drinking Terramana later on backstage, and it's just like, and of course he's like, not of course, but like he's drinking right before he gets into the car. Like, that was just like odd timing to me. I guess, yeah, it was just like one shot or whatever, but like, I don't know, it was just like a weird visual. Um and just not great placement in the timeline. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't even know what to say to that, because like, yeah, he's The Rock, but like, it's, I don't know, wasn't that big of a deal. But I was just like, y'all gotta be careful, man. You got kids in the crowd. You know, what else? To me, it didn't bother me that much, but a lot of people pointed it out, and I remember watching it live too, and I was just like, did he really just take a shot and then get in the car? Like, you're on TV, bro. You gotta be careful. There's police everywhere. There's security everywhere. And the parking lots for these WWE shows are not the safest place, as we all have learned. It's not the NXT parking lot, which is the most dangerous, but you gotta be careful. Gots to be careful. But he was fine. I mean, between him and Travis Scott pulling up and smoking that J, and the fans, like, we're just doing whatevs. But yeah, man, that could be, getting back to your comment here and kind of bringing back full circle. That would make sense too, and I guess that would free up. So I guess in your situation too, CB, would Cody not win the title back prior to Mania, and it would just be Rock and Cody for just as like a grudge match, and no title on the line? I mean, of course, The Rock will have his People's Championship, but I guess you could do that, and because I was, no reason The Rock needs a championship match. So yeah, you could do that. You could just add more fuel to that fire. That could be something, man. That could be something. I would love it. And again, coming from a Cody Rhodes fan, I would love that, but I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't know. And it's weird too, because like at least me personally, like, I really don't have a good feeling of the direction that they're going in for Mania. You know, not a good feeling, just like in a good or bad sense, rather a sense of direction, like predictability is what I mean. I guess I should have phrased that differently. Because I do have a good feeling going into the build for Mania. I think it's gonna be a fun season, but I can't predict it. Like, this Rumble is gonna be a very stacked Rumble. leading back into SmackDown, we got the declaration from Roman Reigns, not him specifically, but via Paul Heyman. He did declare for the Rumble, and he called a shot too, which plays into the good guy side of Roman. I mean, not that he has the money in the big briefcase, so he can just cash in whenever, but if Roman wants a title shot, he can get a title shot just by a snap of his fingers, right? So the fact that he declared for the Rumble and the fact that he wants to win the Rumble match and then said he's coming after Cody again via Paul. I thought that was cool. I thought that was a really simple but effective way to put more hype on the Rumble match. And I mean, too, your first two announcees for the Rumble is John Cena and Roman Reigns. Like, come on, bro. Get out of here. Get out of here. My dude Dan is going to the Rumble, and props and shout out to you, Dan. I'm even more jealous, man. It's gonna be a sick show, especially being in Indy. I think it's gonna be a cool vibe and a cool area. It's different. It's not one of those big major cities or one of those big like flashy states or anything like that. Which is why I really was looking into going, but the prices are just a little steep. I actually, I am gonna look into it a little bit more because sometimes prices fluctuate. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a good Rumble, a good Rumble. CB, you say Raw and SmackDown on Netflix are going back to 3 hours, which sucks because it's too long, especially in the UK with a start time of 1 a.m. Okay, CB, so you're from the UK, I take it. Good morning, or what time is it for you right now, my friend? Good morning. A good friend of the show, Sai, is also from the UK. What up, Sai? If you're watching this on replay, Sean, you say the Chelsea Mia, and you always go by Mia. Props to you, Sean. Respect. You say the Chelsea Mia match was okay, but it could have been better. I want Dakota to win too. I've always been a fan, and she could be a really good face. Yeah, dude. Dakota is one. Yes, she can. Maybe she would make more sense as a heel, but I think she could be a really good face too. I think she's one that can really not even get the sympathy route, but just like make you believe in her and believe in her fight and believe in her comebacks in the matches and stuff like that. So I really think that she helps you buy in. She's a very believable character in my opinion. I just think she hasn't got the proper time in showcasing. So that's why another reason why I really want her to win the IC title too, because I think they're gonna put some shine. Not she's not gonna be in the main event and everything like that, but they're gonna put some shine on those titles, and they have for Chelsea Green as well. Like, yes, like they don't, Chelsea's character isn't the most serious or anything like that, but that was her whole character going into it as well. So I loved it. I love Chelsea Green. I think she is in a lot of ways underappreciated still. And she's gonna be one of those characters like towards the end of her career, like looking back on everything, like we're just really going to appreciate, or the masses are gonna just really appreciate her contributions even more and be like, damn, like she really was good. And maybe we didn't like give her as much credit and give her flowers type thing during the fact. But man, like she's good, man. And again, like she's not the most like solid in the ring or anything like that, but as a total package, she's it, man. And I love what she's doing with the title. And I love her and Piper Niven, man. Like Piper Niven, I loved her outfit, like that black like jumpsuit type thing, but it was all sparkly and like bedazzled. And she hit her bomb, man. Like she was running, hit the senton, and she just it was almost like I have like falling backwards senton and like elbow ish drop. I don't know, but she just for whatever reason it just tickled me seeing her do that in the jumpsuit. But yeah, the match itself could have been better, but I love Chelsea, man. So I think I'm a little biased on that one. But you said Lyra all the way? Nah, man, nah. No, Lyra is good, but I definitely want Dakota to win this one. Yeah, bro. YouTube is the worst. They are the worst. They set you up, man. You say they didn't have Cody do 2 years WrestleMania trying to get the title just to lose it. Yeah. Yeah, so they Cody pretty much trying to win the title and finishing his story, right, at WrestleMania, trying to win the title just to lose it within a year. And that's where I'm at too, man. I hate to even like kind of just like boil it down to just like time frames or anything like that, but I just think that that's it. It would just be too just I don't know, like kind of unnecessary, really, and just unnecessary in the sense that they're going a different direction, in my opinion. And even though I hated the stuff that The Rock did, that's a bit strong and dramatic. I'm just gonna say I strongly disliked what he did on Raw, even if they have a way of cleaning it up or setting it up or anything like that, or those are just the seeds to like do a swerve or anything like that, and for him to do something drastic to Cody. Um, I don't know. It was just too much. It was just too heavy. And for me, like I said on my show, I think what made it worse for me, it'd be one thing if it was just The Rock like kind of buttering Cody up and kind of being like, "Oh, I love you, bro," type thing. And if Cody wasn't being so receptive. So if The Rock is just like, "Yeah, thank you, Cody," like Mama Rose, haha. If Cody was just like kind of like looking at him like, "What?" Like fuck, like no, like if Cody was not buying into it, then I would be completely more okay with it, and then I'd be like, yeah, like no, Rock, what are you doing? But with Cody just laughing it up with him and just like literally like almost like smacking his knee laughing at the Mama Rhodes thing and then drinking backstage with him, that was what was so jarring for me. Like that was what made me be like, really? Because like with The Rock and his delusional heel character, right? That he in like the final Boston, like you could almost make a case where he could be delusional enough to think that, okay, yeah, like I'm just gonna butter Cody up and act like nothing happened and try to just kind of be like a psycho, right? And kind of play into, in my opinion, his appearance because like that small little like gray like just like little like stubs of his beard and the gold glasses that he had almost like ricochets, um it kind of made him look almost like sinister a little bit, which I loved. I loved the look. I was when I saw like the little stubs on his face, I was shocked because like I don't remember seeing like little stubs on The Rock. You know what I mean? Like at one point he had like the goatee or whatever, but that was years ago at this point. But it made me wonder, like, okay, like, because he's always clean shaven, like, well put together, and not even that he looked, like, disheveled, but it was a different look. So it almost made me wonder, like, okay, like, is he going for, like, a more darker, like, sinister vibe, like, kind of like Psycho? So I don't know. I don't know. And I'm gonna I'm gonna try to be fair, rather. I'm gonna try to leave that a little open-ended, but it was just too much, man. It was just too much. Dr. Ross, what up? What up? Just 3 weeks to the Rumble, man. It's crazy, crazy, bro. And it's weird that it's February 1st still. Uh, just weird having the Rumble in February. What up, Carl? You say so now Roman has entered the Rumble and The Rock maybe being a possibility to win Chamber. Who wins the Rumble from the main event? Because we could end up with The Rock champion versus Roman or Cena versus Cody. Okay, yeah. I mean, and The Rock possibly being is he really a possibility in the Chamber though? Like, I don't see The Rock entering the Chamber. I would love to. And again, I even made a pitch for that last year going into Mania season, kind of something similar. Obviously, Cody was in the champion, it was Roman, but it was like a different scenario to just, it was a completely different scenario, but kind of similar in the same aspect. To make a case for The Rock entering the Chamber. So I would love that, but I don't know. I just don't see the reason why The Rock would need to be in the Chamber this year. No, unless they just wanted to make it just a effing like just stacked chamber just for no stupid reason, right? If you want, like, let's say Cena doesn't win. Let's just make a case where Cena doesn't win the Rumble, Roman doesn't win the Rumble, and Rock isn't even entered in the Rumble, but he just makes an appearance. Can you imagine throwing Roman, Cena, and The Rock in a chamber match in 2025? Fucking insane, y'all. Insane. Like I would be looking at flight tickets to to go to Toronto. First of all, because I've always wanted to go to Toronto, but that would be such a crazy show. Such a crazy chamber match. Um I like the chances of that happening realistically are probably like 1-2%. Just me kind of spitballing, but yeah. I don't really see why Rock would need to be in the chamber because he's the Rock, man. Kind of like Roman. Like he can just kind of call a shot. And not that I'm advocating for that. But I don't know, like I would need to hear like Rock's mission statement. Like if he like why like what is his main focus with Cody? Does he want to dethrone Cody as the champion, and does he want to be the new undisputed, universal heavyweight champion, or does he just want to like just bragging rights and take power back, just like in the not physical sense, in the matter of like it being a championship, but just power of the company, the tribal, like not obviously not the tribal chief title, but the leverage that his family has, right? And like his bloodline has, and like his bloodline being the most dominant in the company. You know what I mean? So I guess I would kind of need to hear specifically from The Rock, like what his new focus on and his new gripe with Cody is. And I think they still need to answer, and they haven't referenced it since, I don't believe, but they need to address what The Rock handed Cody on the Mania after Raw, or Mania after Raw, the Raw after Mania. It was something again small enough to fit in Cody's hand, but it was something, and it was something that Cody was really affected by. So they need to kind of address that, and I think they will. But again, like I don't know. I would love to see it, but I gotta again kind of have to see the direction that The Rock wants to go in and is intending to go in, really, with Cody specifically. Or is he, because it doesn't look like he's going after Roman, right? He just patted Roman on the back essentially and kissed his forehead. So I mean, and rechristened him the tribal chief with the Ula Fala. So it's just kind of all like in a cluster right now, but not in a necessarily negative way. It's just like, okay, like all just really all up in the air. So I again just kind of need to see how it plays out. Um, but yeah, like winning the Rumble with Cena being so heavy-handed with he's gonna win the Rumble. I mean, after his whole, oh no, I'm gonna get to the 17th. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I'm gonna win the Rumble. Like all that, that journey to get to the Rumble statement. I think Cena's always been one of those characters to me. Like if he says he's gonna win something, he normally wins unless he gets screwed. So I don't know. I'm kind of like early 50-50 on if Cena's gonna actually win the Rumble and then face off against Cody, for instance. As much as I'd love to see him against Gunther, I think it would be him versus Cody. And then that really, again, like it's just always just influx, because then like what are you gonna do with Roman? And I guess you could have Roman go against Jacob Fatu or something like that, or get something going with that, or you could have Roman going up against CM Punk, which is I think that's been kind of rumored as well. And they already started the seeds with that. And of course, Paul Heyman owes CM Punk a favor. So maybe the favor for Punk is he doesn't win the Rumble. He doesn't have a Mania match, and he wants a Mania match. He wants a high marquee Mania match. So this is it. He wants to face Roman and just go from there, and they can build the story. And then the story, the question can be, what side is Heyman on again? Because we all know Paul Heyman and CM Punk were tight and have been tight for decades, so there's so much story there, and you still have a decent amount of time to dig into it too. So I think it's going to be a very interesting. The Rumble is really, really going to lay the foundation for the WrestleMania build this year. So it's really kind of hard to even spitball at this point until we get past the Rumble, which I love too. I love that we're kind of just so at influx. And in my opinion, at least, if you guys are more set in stone, let me know. But for me, I'm just like I don't know, and I love that. I love that. Scrolling through here. What up, Psy? Speaking of Psy, what up? What up? You say, yeah, The Rock and Cody baffled me. They played it like nostalgia act rather than the direction of the next Mania. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Carl, it's about the play up. Everyone has one last run. Just ask Double J Jeff Jarrett, which we'll get into here in 1 second. Just to wrap up some SmackDown thoughts. I love that we did not get Solo. I'm gonna bring that comment back up. Double J. I love that we didn't get Solo. I fully expected us to get Solo on this SmackDown to address him losing the Ula Fala in the direction of his bloodline and that group and what they're going to do going forward, because I think that's going to play an impact into WrestleMania as well. I like that they're building it though. I like that they still displayed Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga as badasses and really presented them as a big deal. And Jacob really kind of took the lead without being very like forceful with it or very like dictatory type, you know. And again, it's just him and Tonga there, but Tama Tonga, but just like the way, like the promo that he gave when it was him and Tama walking to the ring, it was just powerful, man. And it just really emphasized that he can and most likely will be that next leader for the new direction of a bloodline or whatever formation that's going to be. I don't know if they would call themselves like bloodline again. But I really think that we're gonna end up getting Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania. If they can hold off that long, but I think them holding off returning or bringing back Solo into next week, and they're kind of hyping it up too. Like they're not like going crazy with it, but they were very deliberate in showing a graphic for him returning next week, and he's essentially going to address him losing the Ulafala, no longer being the tribal chief, because he said himself, if you don't have the Ulafala, you're not the tribal chief. You know what I mean? And he has lost the big matches. Like he lost against Roman and like his team lost in War Games, so he's got some explaining to do to Jacob Fatu and to Tama, and Jacob loves Solo, but Jacob, in my opinion, he doesn't seem like that kind of guy that loves to lose. He loves to dominate. He's crazy, so I think as much as he can love you, he can turn on you just as quickly. So I think it's going to be one of those situations where it's kind of similar to like Evolution with Batista and Randy Orton way back when, maybe like a false sense of security for old Solo. And we'll see if they pull the trigger on it next week or if they kind of drag it out. Because again, like I was saying, if the goal is to have Solo and Jacob at WrestleMania, you do have some time in between now and then. It's 3 months, so a little less. Or actually, no, a little more. Today's the 11th, but I think that it could be a big match, and it'd be interesting to see who they really want to make the good guy and the bad guy in that case too. So it's just really up in air, but I think it's fun. I really enjoy seeing how this plays out because they have such a star with Jacob Fatu, and I think this is going to be the beginning of him really breaking out. So it's going to be fun to watch. Eddie. Oh, Flair. Yeah, Maria, you said the most open field Royal Rumble in a very long time. Facts, girl. Facts. Dr. Ross, you said, who do we think will draw spots 1 and 2 in the men's Rumble? Dude, I was saying on my show a couple days ago, I think Cena needs to be, if not number 1 or 2, within the top 5. Or not, well, I guess the first 5, making his way out. Because if his whole thing is, like run the gauntlet and put in the grind, he's like, oh, woe is me, have a win a match and earn it, bro. Like if you're gonna enter the Rumble and your whole case is, oh, I'm gonna enter the Rumble to fight and and to like really like get back to the championship, then all right, dude, like enter in the 1 or 2 spot, you know what I mean? So to me, that would just make the most sense, having him at one of those spots. And then again, it just depends on how stacked they continue to make it, because I think it would be fucking just insane and so fun to have like Cena come out as number 1 and then Roman Reigns come out as number 2. Because first of all, if you think about it, this is his first Rumble match in 5 years, like Rumble match proper in like 5 years or so. And it's going to take him forever to get to the ring. Like, it's probably going to take him half of the match to even make it to the ring. So you got to start the match off with him, because it's not fair then. Like, he takes by the time he makes it to the ring, like half of the field are going to be eliminated. So you got to have him start soon. So I think it would just be like, can you imagine the reaction? You have Cena coming out at number 1 and then Roman Reigns following up, or vice versa. Like, it would just be fucking stacked. I really don't think, it's just me kind of like spitballing and just like going crazy with it. But I do think Cena being, if not number 1 and 2, within the first 5 to make his entrance, you just need to really play into his version of his story to Mania, right? And his story to number 17. But with Roman, I could very easily see them having him come out at like number 30. And and that number 30 spot, or like, the countdown to number 30, we all know who it is at this point because process of elimination. The ring is kind of stacked, and then he just comes in and kind of like clears house. I could see something like that too, which wouldn't be as fun as having him and Cena come out as number 1 and 2. Man, I think they could really do something. CB, it's 3:30 p.m. Oh, so you're established in your day at this point. First name. Yeah, Fernando. Chelsea is really looking good as the U.S. champion. I love her. I love her. All right, so I'm gonna kind of scroll through here really quick, and then I do want to talk about AEW, like I said, to give them some proper time. What up, Andrew? Andrew, you say the chamber needs to return to its violent nature or be retired. Yeah, and the cell, thankfully, or not thankfully, but thanks to Punk and Drew McIntyre as well, it really, and Cody, the visual with Cody going in there with that torn pec, it really has heated up, I would say, in the past couple of years. They do need to do something with the chamber. They do. I agree with you there, violence wise, because it's almost just like another just a dome structure, but I just think back to like that first chamber, dude. That shit was just brutal. Like the structure itself had no give. I really like that pay-per-view. It was Survivor Series 2002, I believe the year was. I believe it was that year. And crazy. Speaking of Paul Heyman, he Brock Lesnar was there, and he turned on Brock Lesnar that night, cost him the championship, and sided with Big Show. Fucking wild, right? Wrestling is so crazy. All right. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Dr. Raji says Cena being heavily advertised as appearing at the Elimination Chamber in Toronto, which makes me think he won't be winning the Rumble. Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily going to win the Rumble either. That's what I'm saying. I was like kind of 50-50 on it. I think we're going to have like all these like main event guys in it, and then it's going to be someone that you're kind of not expecting. But it just really depends. And I am just so all over the place with predictions for this Rumble right now, which is fun for me. But yeah, like and again, like I would love to see Cena go through the whole match itself and then like be thrown out and maybe even make it to the final 2 or the final 4 and be tossed out. So he just went through all that shit for nothing and then had to go through a chamber match just because I'm kind of an asshole. But it was just playing to his story, playing to his story and his grind. And the question really is, does he still have it? Like that was kind of the direction that he's been going, the humble Cena, right? Like, oh, do I still have it in me? Can I really hit 17? Like, should I just stop now? Like, no, like you could really ham that up. CB, you say I guess watch Dynamite. It's so bad. It's worse than Jim Cornette makes a sound on the drive-thru in the Experience. Oh man, Jim Cornette is something else, man. That guy. Sean, you say, can it they pushed this Cody KO match 3 more weeks. It's cooling off because they're getting physical every week now. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where it's on site now, and I think they even referenced that. I think Cody said that or referenced that it's like on site. But I don't know, man. I think they I think they can. I think they can. Especially with Kevin. They are kind of pushing it a little thin, but I think they have ways that they can drag it out, is and not in a negative way. But I love Kevin's shirt. Kevin is right. But I think that they have a real possibility of doing that. But that's what I was saying. Like, I don't see Kevin winning the title as much as I would love it. But after that match, like, I don't see a return match or them running it back after that at like Chamber or anything. I think that they're gonna have to go in a direction. And then it's like, what do you do with Kevin after that? Which it's gonna be a bummer, but we'll get to that when we get to that. um dun, dun, dun. Eddie, you say AEW version of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is trash. Kenny in New Japan was amazing. Yeah, bro, that's a good start. We'll kind of branch off from there. What up, Mike? Mike Hawks Long. Like your little graphic there too, bro. You say finally a solo podcast, and then you said I just want to hear one voice. Hi, Ash. Wow. Well, I appreciate that. Normally, it's the exact opposite. Normally, people hate solo podcasts and just one person chatting. So I appreciate that, man, and welcome. Welcome, man. I am here every Saturday morning around 10 a.m. live, on sometimes a little after, just depending. But I don't think I will be here. Let me see next week's schedule. I'm gonna try to see. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it next week because I'll be on vacation next week, and I just don't know like the scheduling of it. I may still try to fit one in, but just traveling wise. So I'll see. And if not, we'll definitely post it on the Twitter page as well. And I'll see if maybe I can record something or do something in the meantime. But I'll definitely do something on the KickAsh podcast. But as far as a live show next week, I'll be traveling like starting that Friday. So TBD on that one. But Mike, after that, I am here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. live. 10 a.m. ish live. And again, you can check me out the KickAsh podcast as well. That's my own thing. It's just me solo over there. I do everything solo, mainly because I'm a very last minute and impromptu person. But I appreciate you chiming in, popping in, commenting, all that good stuff, man. And if you guys haven't liked the video here, please do that. It just helps the algorithm out here for One True Sport, and it also gets people more involved too, and it kind of puts the show out there. So more people like Mike, if they like solo pods, they can swing on through and say hey, or you can dislike it as well and tell me I suck, whatever you prefer, and just let me know why though. Let me know why. But yeah, bro, you said let's go. I agree about Jacob Fatu, bro. Mike, yeah, dude, like he is gonna be the truth, man. And I think he's just such a badass, and he's just like that can of worms just waiting to be open, and just like, oh, maybe not a can of worms, but because they want something more explosive. But like those little like those little poppers, like you like pull it, the string, and like just like the confetti just pops everywhere, like something like that. Like, you know it's gonna happen, but it's just like once it happens, it's like, it still gets you. Like that reminds me of Jikafai too, for whatever reason. Like, dude's just fucking crazy. You know, he's just so unpredictable, but he's so menacing too. Not like confetti. Confetti's not menacing, but he's just so unpredictable, man. Like and it's in a believable way too. It's not like it's dude just psycho, you can't take him seriously, like whatever, like he'll never be like a main event guy. The exact opposite with him, and they just have such a star with him, and it was such a good grab, and I'm so happy he didn't go. And I don't think there was ever any question, but, and again, not even to put company versus company, but I'm just so happy he didn't go to like AEW or like go back to New Japan, or go to New Japan for that matter, or anything like that. I'm happy he came over to WWE. I'm happy he came over when he did. I think it was perfect timing, and he's gonna be a star, dude. It just, again, we're almost all like privileged to kind of watch it in its infancy and kind of grow. Like, I just feel real fortunate to see him, but it's gonna be fun, dude. What up, Azan? What up? I feel like I haven't seen you in a bit, dude. You say should MF Punk? Was that a typo or was it motherfucking Punk? Should be CM Punk? But should Punk be in the Rumble? Yeah, I think so. Why not? I mean, what else is Punk gonna do at the Rumble? And you can't have this big of a Rumble like card and PLE itself without having Punk do something substantial. So again, with Punk, it just depends on with Punk. And to be fair, I think that they need to give Gunther a little bit more shine. So it just again kind of depends on what they're doing with Gunther, I think, but also specifically what they're doing with Roman and The Rock and Cody and all that, because yes, CM Punk has called out Gunther, which I like, and I like that every chance that CM Punk has for like a mission statement or direction or anything like that, he calls out Gunther, and he called out Cody as well. You know, to be fair, but he mentions he wants the championship, and I think that wrestlers should do that more. That's the whole point. If you're not in the game to go for the number one title, then what are you in the game for? Type thing, you know. So I think unless you're going to have Punk face like challenge Gunther at the Rumble itself for the title, because too like what we were kind of referencing earlier with the Rumble itself, since we're having Kevin Owens, I guess since you are having Kevin Owens in Cody Rhodes, you don't necessarily need like a Gunther match, so I don't know. It's just what are we doing with Gunther is not a big concern. Like I'm not like, oh my god, like they're fumbling him or anything like that. He's just kind of like simmering right now, you know, and he's just I don't even want to say on the back burner. He's still like on one of the front burners, you know what I mean? But he's just kind of like turned like medium, you know what I mean? And he's not like on fire and stuff like that. But it's just a quick turn of the knob and he'll be good. So I'm not really concerned or anything like that for him, but I think it's kind of like almost like a holding pattern type thing. Like we're just waiting for other things to maybe get solidified and then to really like prime his opponent up. So with Punk being in the Rumble, it just really depends on what they're going to do with Gunther, in my opinion. But because then too, like I wouldn't want Punk to face off against Gunther at the Rumble just to have Punk lose, for instance, or for him to beat Gunther in such short notice. I think that'd be kind of crazy. So I don't think they're necessarily going that route. So that's why I said, why not? You got to do something with Punk, and it'd be ludicrous not to put him in the Rumble, especially since next year they're going to have the Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and you know my guy ain't going to be at that Rumble, so he's going to, that would be wild. That would be wild if Punk ever went to Saudi Arabia. But I think why not? Why not? Just please be careful, Punk. Please be careful. Oh yeah, Mike Hikuleo, yeah, dude, yeah. I remember seeing him like in AEW for the first couple times, and I was just like, he's gonna be nice. He's gonna be something special. Maybe not like a big main event guy, but one of those like silent killer types. Um, yeah, 10-minute entrance for the pay-per-view minimum for sure, Mike. CB, I just realized the 2025 Rumble will be the first Rumble for The Rock since the 2000 Royal Rumble match, which he won. Is he like? Did he declare for the Rumble though? Like I don't. The Rock. I don't. Did he declare for the Rumble? I'm not sure if he. Maybe I missed something. Did he declare? Like again, because I know he was on NXT this week, but I didn't see his clip from NXT or I didn't see NXT itself. So if I missed it, man, slap me in the face with it because yeah, hashtag where's Gunther. Yeah, Mike, they took away the steel gratings. And I'm again, like I don't want these guys to go out there and kill themselves just to kill themselves. But yeah. Dun, dun, dun. All right, Sean, you say the Jarrett MJF segment was fine as a whole, but Jarrett just needs to go away at this point. Tennessee was the only reason the reaction was good. So thank you, Sean. I will use you as a segue over to the AEW part. And like I was mentioning earlier with the Double J, Jeff Jarrett. Yes, it was fine as a whole. So yes, the MJF. So okay. So yes, as a whole, it was fine. I agree with you there, dude. But I I almost feel like, what are we doing with MJF? It was just very odd positioning. So you have MJF come out, and we all know the piece of shit MJF is, right? Character wise, of course, like that's his thing. Like he uses people, right? Like he uses people, pays people off, whatever. So once we got towards the end of MJF's promo and his little pitch to Jarrett, it made sense to me, right? And should make sense to everyone. Like the goal of MJF, he wants to help get Jeff Jarrett to the championship match. He wants to help Jarrett win the AEW title so he can be the first one to face Jarrett for the title and beat the shit out of him, right? And he views it as a quick I'm just kind of putting words in his mouth at this point, but he would view it as like a quick victory and an easy way to get the Triple B back, right? I like that Jarrett didn't buy into it, right? And of course, at this point, you would expect Jarrett, the veteran that he is, to be able to see through MJF's ways and MJF's bullshit and his pitch and to see the end game, just like we all should, right? It's just weird to me because like Jarrett is one of those characters too where I feel like he's gone back and forth, like good guy, bad guy, and stuff like that. Yes, to be fair, like for a while now he has kind of try to be more the voice of reasoning type. Like he tried to talk Hangman off the ledge when he was battling Swerve. So he has changed his direction a little bit, but it's just still odd. And the fact that they are kind of piggybacking off of the John Cena story with Jarrett is just kind of funny to me, and just kind of like, really? Like, even if they had that idea going into it as well, it's just like, I don't know, like, I get it. And to be fair, it's very, Sting had his like kind of like retirement-ish type run as well. But not even ish, like we knew it was a run and it was very well told. It's just like the difference though, like especially with Sting and Jarrett, even just in the AEW world, was that Sting was presented as a much bigger deal, as a legacy star, as a like an Undertaker type, right? Like as a locker room leader, as one of the guys. No disrespect to Jarrett, but he just hasn't been presented that way in the AEW. Like, yes, he's been presented as a legend and like a veteran, and respect on his name and all that stuff, but just not as high up and like a higher importance in that legacy type of aspect as Sting. So to now all of a sudden be jolting and doing this like, oh, like retirement run type thing, and does he still have it, and he wants to be the champion. And again, to be fair, like I said earlier, like everyone should want to be the champion. If you're an active wrestler out there, you should want to be the top champion, like the heavyweight champion for your division. So yes, it's, in one hand, it's kind of like eye rolling that he like could potentially be facing for that championship, right? And we could potentially be getting that match. But on the other hand, it makes total sense too, because he's still an active wrestler and he should want to be the champion. So I can understand that. But it's like, when you look at everything as a whole, you have Adam Copeland. Cope is just, I can't. You have Adam Copeland going for the championship. And again, leaving that blanket statement out there, everyone should want to be the champion. Goes for everyone, okay? I just don't want to keep repeating myself on that. But Adam Copeland wanting to be the champion. You still have Jay White out there, thankfully a younger guy. But just kind of like backtracking, you have Adam Copeland, you have Jeff Jarrett, and you have Christian Cage, like all hanging out in the title scene right now. And it's just like, that's not the direction. Yes, we have Kenny, which we'll get to in a second, who has made his return and isn't necessarily going for the heavyweight championship right now, but you hope will be. You hopefully will have Ospreay, and so you do have some of the younger guys. And to be fair, this is just a temporary, like just something to kind of get them through the next couple months, I think, especially until we get closer to All In. But it's just not hot, man. It's just not what I expected and I had hoped for when Moxley first beat Danielson for the title and all that. And I know I got way off base, but I kind of went on that tangent in that route, because it does lead back to Jarrett, because it does lead back to the vibe in the sense that MJF should just be going straight for the title, point blank. And again, he is doing so, and he is in his own way. But it's like, bro, like, I'm just with MJF at this point. I'm just kind of like, just cut the shit, man. Just stop. Oh, you have to win 5 matches to get a chance to face me. Like just like, I'm not saying you have to like go and like be a hot baby face again, because I still think they shouldn't have pulled the trigger on his babyface turn. But man, like just go straight for the title, bro. Like just make us hate you again, and just be solo. You know, like don't worry about what Jarrett's doing. Don't try to pay anyone off. Don't try to do like all this underhanded shit just to get to the title. It's just like, just get there, man. Like, that's just kind of where I'm at with MJF. Like, I just want him to be just by himself, no bullshit, just get to the title. But yeah, man. Scrolling through here really quick, guys. Hey, thanks, Mike. He said big salute would be into for future shows Saturday. Enjoy the vacay. Thanks, man. Thank you. And like I said, man, it's just me solo over on my show as well, KickAsh Podcast here on YouTube as well. So if you like hear me kind of talk to myself sometimes, feel free to pop in and drop a comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, solo vibes are cool sometimes too. You know, you do get a lot, and obviously, like, it's fun to have a back and forth sometimes, but sometimes too it's cool just to have like just your own thoughts and just kind of like your own video diary, just to kind of, you know, listen and to just chat with some different people, you know, and people who obviously I've never met, you know, and to get different perspectives. So that's the coolest part for me, really. Let's see. Azan, you say Ash don't give a fuck about TNA. You talking about me? Because that's completely not true. I just went to a TNA show 3 months ago. Drove 2 hours to go to the show. So, and I bought some merch. So if you're talking about me not giving a fuck about TNA, that's a little inaccurate, my friend. But that's cool. Maybe there's another Ash out there. I don't even know where that came from. Do I do review shows on TNA? No, and that's because like I didn't have access to the product and to the weekly show, and I don't want to be one of those people that just kind of like pull shit out of thin air, you know. So that's why I don't do like a dedicated show to it. But not giving a fuck about TNA is completely inaccurate. So yeah, I don't really know where that came from. But Mike, you say if Cena wins at the Chamber and gets his Mania spot there, who wins the Rumble this year? Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know. Considering Cody won it the last 2 years, it won't be him, and Punk came second. Maybe it's Punk. Rose, I take it you're not a Punk fan, man. I don't think Punk's gonna win though. Yeah, I don't think Punk's gonna win this year. I don't know. And again, I'm just so all over the place with the Rumble. I have no idea. No idea. Da, da, da. All right. And Eddie, you say MJF has been completely ruined. I don't know, man. I'm not gonna say completely ruined, but ever since like I feel like he signed this new contract extension, like he's just kind of, and to be fair, he has kind of not been checked out, but he's been doing his Hollywood thing, and respect and props to him for that. But it's just not been the same. It's just not been the same. And I think the Adam Cole feud like really kind of hurt him a bit. And honestly, like even backtracking before that, before they were facing each other respectively, their partnership and MJF becoming a face, like I just think him becoming the good guy was too soon. And it's just, I just don't think that they should have pulled the trigger on it when they did. I think they burned through some of his like heart, like I don't want to say heartwarming, but those stories, those like connecting stories, like that one where he was bullied in school for being Jewish and stuff like that. Like we shouldn't know about that yet. We should have been holding on to that for a serious feud, for a serious moment when he's actually turned and like there's a full direction. Like I just think it was very premature. So I think that was kind of the start of the, I don't want to say downfall, because I don't think he's been I don't think he's on like a downward spiral or like he's been completely ruined yet. I just think that that was the start of a sharp turn for his character, man, and just I think it's kind of residual into his now bad guy run now again, because he's just kind of going through the typical bad guy comments, right? Like shitting on the local fan, or like of course the local fans, but like the local teams and stuff like that. I don't know. And like I said, like I appreciated what he did with Jarrett. Like I can understand the direction and his mindset behind it, but I just want something more for MJF at this point. But yeah. Mike, you say you think you heard multiple people say The Rock will be in the Rumble. We'll see, man. We'll see. um we'll see. Da, da, da. Azan, you said MJF and Jeff is simple story, and MJF needs a simple story now. I mean, I guess, but you think Jeff Jarrett is his best option? Like, I kind of expected them to revisit him and Daniel Garcia, because, again, like not saying like that would be the ideal, and I don't want him to beat Daniel Garcia, but I kind of expected them to revisit that at least a little bit, at least for maybe Garcia's sake. But they just kind of Garcia came back, like they had their like brief like interaction, and then that was kind of it. Like yeah, like a case could be made like it's good just to have them doing their own thing and to not even mess with Garcia and have him lose to MJF, or have MJF lose to Garcia or anything like that. But since they've already had their match, but I don't know, man. It's again like yeah, like what could you be doing with MJF and what should MJF be doing right now? But to me, that's a bigger and like it's more indicative of the bigger issue in my opinion. It's that I just feel like there's no sense of direction, and it's not like even like a fun unpredictability aspect. It's just like I feel like the title scene is kind of convoluted right now, and it's just nothing really. You don't have like, in my opinion, you don't really have like a good feeling like okay, like we're slowly building for like an Osprey or maybe even like an Omega to dethrone John Moxley or anything like that. It's just like yes, we heard MJF wants his Triple B back. He wants the heavyweight championship back, but he's not really making a deliberate effort to get there. And again, I'm not down on it. I'm just gonna wait and see. Maybe this story with MJF and Jeff Jarrett is something just like a brief segment they wanted to do, just to have them interact and just to kind of put a little bit more steam on Jarrett and to just kind of play up Jarrett being a good guy a little bit more, and just to kind of like make MJF even more of a piece of shit and Jeff Jarrett even more of a good guy. I don't know. So I'm willing to like let it play out and see the direction they go. But if this leads to like MJF versus Jeff Jarrett at like Revolution or something, I think that's a little much. But again, we'll see. It could be something great, and it could be maybe something exactly that MJF needs, right? Like maybe Jeff Jarrett is, he did make his declaration that he is on his own path to the title, and maybe MJF does something sinister and just beats the shit out of Jeff Jarrett and just really pummels him, leaves him bloody, and that leads to a Revolution match because Jeff Jarrett says, like, if I can't beat MJF, like, I have no business being a heavyweight champion. So you could do something like that. So, again, I'm going to wait and see and, like, kind of let it play out. But I just want more for MJF too, and again, like, you can't have but so many people in the main event scene at one point too. And I get that, but I just feel like there's just so much up in the air. It's just, I just want a little bit more of a sense of idea of like a direction of where we're going. Again, like I don't need to know and I don't want to know specifically, but just kind of like, oh, okay, like these are the main guys that we're focusing on, and like you have like a small handful, like, oh, okay, is it really gonna be Osprey? Is it gonna be MJF? Like, just kind of a little bit more sense of direction there. But we'll see. We'll see. Da-da-da. Ba-ba. Just going through here really quick. If I missed something pressing, sorry, but There's a lot going on in the chat, which is cool. Y'all are going back and forth. Da, da, da. Tony, and you said Tony Khan doesn't know how to book big men. Azan, you said you never talk about TNA and you need to gain access to TNA. Are you going to pay for the subscription for me? Because if you're going to pay for the subscription, then okay, send me the credentials. Yeah, I just said why I don't talk about TNA, and I've said that a few times too. So, and Azan, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, like, why, like, some of the comments that you say, bro. Like, again, like, to be fair, like, everyone has their own opinion, but like, like you say to Sean, like, stop watching AEW and start watching. I don't know, man. Like, I don't think anyone should stop watching any company unless they are just so. Because then, like, when you say so many fans need to watch more than one company, but like, you want us to stop watching one company. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not really here for like tribalism or anything like that. Like, one day someone asked me, like, are you a fan of like WWE or AEW? I'm a fan of wrestling, dude. I'm a fan of wrestling, and I don't have indisposable income to just subscribe to every subscription out there for access to every wrestling promotion. So props to you, man, if you do, but I don't. So I do what I can, and like I said, like, I don't want to just like randomly talk about something that I'm not actively watching weekly, because then I don't get a good vibe on the stories. And I have done a couple shows on TNA. But yeah, it's just kind of where I'm at with it, man. Like, I'm not gonna just kind of like half-ass talk about something that I don't really know what's happening on. So that's just kind of where I'm at. And I do have access to AEW, and I do love AEW just like I love WWE, and I have love for TNA. I can't review something that I don't have access to watch, and I don't even have a way to subscribe to it. So like so yeah, like I know they have like their own like subscription, but again, like, if you want to subscribe for it, bro, and throw me the credentials, I'm here for it. And then I'll do a weekly show. But until then, man, like, we can only do what we can do, as on. Yeah, they were on Spike way back when. Spike TV, man, Spike TV, they have some crazy shows, y'all. Some crazy shows. Going through here. All right, man, y'all are really active. I can't catch up. But just going back to AEW, because I do want to chat and talk about I think the highlight is probably a no-brainer, right, of the show, and something that I was a little kind of confused on first, and not necessarily confused, but just kind of like perplexed on the direction. And that, of course, is the return of the cleaner, the best bout machine, Kenny Omega, and just kind of like some positives on as of his segment as a whole. Like, I loved how he looked. I thought he looked great. I liked that he wasn't in a suit, like the stereotypical suit and tie or anything like that. But I like how he had a nice button up, and he looked good, man. Like, he had like his hair is back. Like, he looked good, man. Like, I really dug. It was something simple but effective, again, in my opinion. So props to him for that. It just gave the whole segment a higher sense of importance, really. And it just made you feel like the second you saw him, like, okay, like he's about business right now. Like, it's gonna be something serious. I love the tone. I love too how they were hyping it through the night. There's a lot of little displays, graphics in the corner and things like that. So I really like how they hyped it. They didn't go heavy-handed with it, but I like how they continuously reminded you through the show. So I think that was very well done. And I say that because sometimes, like, WWE has almost the exact opposite problem. They beat you over the head with some stuff, but AEW sometimes doesn't remind you of what the main event is going to be, or hype a big segment, or give something the proper hype that maybe they could. And so I think they really did a nice job with this, and it was a nice balance. Like, again, it wasn't beating you over the head like WWE does sometimes. Most times, but it was a nice happy medium. So props to them for that. And again, I love that they put him in the main event segment. I think that it was needed and it just really added another layer of importance to it. But it also kind of left a little cliffhanger for next week too, right? It made you want to tune in. Like I kind of wish that they didn't already make a match for Kenny. I wish they kind of would have dragged that out at least like another week or two, or maybe done it at like their first pay-per-view. I guess you can make a sense that he's already had his first wrestling match back, which I'll kind of reference here in a second. But I don't know. Like to me, it was just very interesting that they decided to have him already go into a match next week, and just kind of so matter of factly. Like before the segment was even completely finished, we were getting an announcement through the commentators that Tony Khan made it official that Kenny Omega has a match next week. And it's just like, does Kenny know? Like he was literally, and kind of get into, I don't want to say the negative parts of it, but just kind of some stuff that it wasn't too much of a fan of, was them. I don't know. Maybe they can't. Maybe there's a reason why they can't specifically, but like they have yet to say the words Wrestle Dynasty, I believe, in regards to Kenny Omega and what big of a deal that was. That he was just literally telling us that he had diverticulitis and that it was life threatening, and never mind the fact that it was his wrestling career was in jeopardy, and just his everyday life was altered, right? And the severity of it. So I love how he connected with us, and I love how he opened up to us. It's something that I've been pitching about with Roman Reigns on for so long. Again, like I don't need to know something so personal, like for instance with Roman, but like just something to hook us and to make us emotionally invested in you. Like I know that's very cliche at this point, but you do. That's what wrestling is, man. Like wrestling is story, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, AEW has no stories, because they do, but some of them just don't connect and hit as much as they could and as much as they have the potential to. And that's what I really wanted from Omega's return. And I've been that person to say too, like I was very excited when AEW started because I had heard about Kenny Omega and I had seen like a couple matches, but I really wanted to learn more about him and who he was, who the cleaner was, and the elite and all this stuff, I mean, like just really learn more character wise. And we didn't get as much as that as I wanted, but now I feel like even just the however many minutes it was that we got on Dynamite, just him opening up to us, telling us the struggle that he went through and how he needed us. Like the stress and the importance that he put on him having us as the fans and him needing wrestling, like that really hooks you, it makes you love him even more, and it really makes you want to support him and just be along of his journey and his comeback story, right? And that's why, and he did reference like I think he was like tested over the weekend or something to that effect. But I don't know why they're not specifically addressing like he had a match, especially in New Japan. Like it was a co-branded show, so I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the Max sponsorship or anything like that, or whatever, but it's just very odd. Just very odd. And the fact too, I like, maybe if I missed it, but they didn't even reference, now to be fair, the EVPs have not been on TV, but they didn't even reference that the EVPs are now the tag champs in New Japan. So it's like just very strange. And again, I'm not really concerned about or pressed or bothered about the tag, the EVP or, well, all the above, but the Young Bucks not being referenced yet, because it's not about them. But I'm just saying, like as a whole, in just Wrestle Dynasty as a whole, it's just kind of odd that we didn't get more reference to the show, especially with Kenny and like the big deal that it was that Kenny is back. So that was just what was kind of strange for me. But I love, again, just how Kenny brought you in and just how Kenny really made you believe that he needs you along and to be a part of his journey, to help him. It kind of like Cena in that matter, like Cena, love him or hate him, he was always that guy. Like he would kind of like baby up to the fans, like he would kind of cater to them, be like we like it's like we're all in this together type thing, you know what I mean? And again, he took it way too far to the extreme, right? But that's why I liked what Kenny did, because he included us and he opened up to us, but it's not like pandering, and it's not like, all right, dude, like it's okay. It was him being emotional and him being vulnerable to us, but in a believable in his own way. So I really dug it. And I did like so I was kind of like when Don Callis came out and his entrance is just the most insane thing, and it's perfect. His face, that big ass face on that screen, like it's just obnoxious in the best way possible. But I just think part of me was like, man, like they could have really like you could have really made a case for just having Kenny just solely be about Kenny and about his return and just kind of letting him talk and just really connect with us again. But I will say I like because Callis is a piece of shit and it really played up to Callis and obviously it's set up next week. But I just really I think having him foil with Callis is probably smart. Um but it was kind of interesting because the last thing that we saw of Kenny Omega on Dynamite and that was referenced was the Elite, right? And especially Jack Perry. They made that cake for him, and it was his birthday, right? Like a couple months ago. And there was like I don't even know if it said happy birthday. It was like a black cake. I forget exactly what it said on it. But they like Jack Perry dumped like intestines and nasty shit all over the cake. So we'll see. I mean, again, I'm going to be generous and kind of let this one play out too, but it's not that Kenny specifically went after Don Callis. It's Don Callis came out and interrupted Kenny, and Kenny's just like fuck this, like he's done, like it's almost on site, like he did say he's not out for revenge, but he isn't here to take any shit either, type of thing. And at this point with him and Don Callis, he's just fed up, and I can make a little bit more case and have a little bit more like okay and like kind of like play it off and like give them a little bit more of a pass for the Callis one, but they need to get to the Elite, and that was the whole point of what Omega did in his return at World's End, right? He came out and presented the Continental Championship to Okada. So I'm not gonna be too like, oh my god, like what is he doing, and like lose my mind over that, but it's kind of like one of those things, like kind of like the heavyweight championship, right? Like Omega is the guy, right? Like Kenny makes you feel like he is the heart and soul of AEW, right? Like he gives off that vibe, and everyone wants a piece of Omega type of thing, and that's why it kind of made sense to me. And it's like again, like I said, especially with Don Callis and their history, like that's almost like a no brainer. I just think that they could have at least held out on having Omega's return match be so soon. I don't know. Like I just feel like they kind of like why? Like why next week? So hold on, I'm gonna pull up something really quick. Dun, dun, dun. Ugh. I typed in something for AEW and the Costco guys came up. Ridiculous. I can't stand Costco guys. Props to them, man. Like they're doing their thing, they're making their bag, but I just can't, bro. I just can't. And also one more thing too regarding Dynamite that I want to mention here before we start to wind down. I really enjoyed Ospreay, the match between Ospreay and Buddy Matthews. I really just fucking insane match. Like Ospreay, he of course is Ospreay, but I really hope that Buddy Matthews gets more shine, especially if all the rumors are true that Malachi Black is out of AEW and headed back to WWE. I just hope that Buddy Matthews and Brody King don't get lost in the shuffle. And I think maybe oddly enough, Brody King may have more of a chance of not getting lost in the shuffle than Buddy Matthews. But I think too that they could be a dominant tag team, right? But Ospreay made a case of, and he said on the mic that Buddy Matthews, just like Brody King, like they don't need a leader, and I think that was obviously deliberate. And I wonder if it was said in the sense that they don't even need really a leader or like a partner, and they should just strictly be solo guys and solo champions. And again, that is what Ospreay referenced as well, that Matthews could definitely be an individual champion, right, and go after his own singles gold. But I just think that Brody King and Buddy Matthews, they could really be just a dominant tag team. And I think the tag team division just really needs more substance and more like believable and just badass teams. And I think if Malachi Black is officially gone, Matthews and King can use this as an opportunity to really revamp themselves and not even change, like keep the same type of character, same direction and stuff like that, but just put more emphasis on just being a team and just being like, like and not dissing Malachi, but just you can even have Matthew say, Ospreay was right, we don't need a leader, but we have each other type thing. Like we're gonna like just obviously I don't cut promos, but just reference that they don't need a leader. They got each other and they're going after gold. They're going after all the gold. They want the tag gold. They want individual gold. They want everything type thing. So I just think that they can really make a case for that. I don't know. Like I fear. Do I want Matthews? Like for instance, like I think he'd be just a badass TNT champion, right? Buddy Matthews just having like open, like, because the TNT championship, the kind of vibe has always been like almost like the open challenge type thing, or just like kind of like impromptu title matches. So I just like, I think you could really put on a showcase for Buddy Matthews, man, and just have him like, even not if it's not weekly, like bi-weekly, just come out there and just have these badass matches and just really put on good 15-ish minute matches, and whether it's against like a new up and coming guy, or you turn something into a feud, or like if him versus Jack Perry, or if you want to get involved with the Elite or anything like that, like there's just so much you could really do. So I think that he could really make a case, and you could really make a case rather for him being a singles champion. But there's just so much going on right now in the singles realm in AEW, and just so many like start and stops with a lot of guys. That's what concerns me about King, like Brody King and Buddy Matthews breaking up as well. So, and that's like, for instance, like with the Acclaimed as well. Like they definitely need a shakeup and they definitely need a change, but I don't necessarily think them breaking up is the best idea either. Maybe just a heel turn for them, or just a new direction, not being about the whole scissoring thing, and just different, more of an edge. So I don't know. I just think you can tweak it up, but I think the tag division needs a little bit more love and a little bit more attention. So that's what just kind of makes me nervous if Malachi Black is officially gone, like what they're going to do with Buddy Matthews and Brody King. But I do think it's a good, I did appreciate rather that Ospreay pretty much gave Matthews love, right? At first, or at times it was kind of like, all right, bro, like, okay, like, it was kind of like, I don't want to say not cheesy, but just kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to know the proper way to say it, but just kind of like a little bit too much. But as a whole, that's just Ospreay, dude. That's just the way Ospreay is and the way he talks. And I think that he just really, as a whole, he put a lot of love on Matthews, and I really dug the segment. And I'm just hopeful for Matthews and Brody King going forward. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But guys, we will be wrapping up here. Just scrolling through really quick. Eddie, where is Wardlow, bro? Where is Wardlow? I was at Revolution 22, man, when he came out and brought that Dynamite Diamond ring and placed it on the mat for CM Punk, and the crowd lost it, man. Like, I just remember that night being like, man, like, let's go with Wardlow, and then just completely downhill from there. CB, you say if TNA gets a TV deal in the UK, I will start watching it again happily. Yeah, man. If they get a deal, I would love it. I'd fucking love it too. Like that, for instance, the match between Tessa Blanchard and Jordan Grace, that's going to be a dope match, and figure out a way to watch it. Da-da-da. Sean, you say Wardlow was struggling anyway, and he wasn't that great, to be fair. The beginning with MJF was the best, to be fair. Yeah, and that's what I was saying, Sean, like the beginning. But also, Sean, like, to be fair and to kind of go off of that a little bit, yes, like, he wasn't that great. Sorry, I just had to adjust my cord. he wasn't that great, but he had the potential to be, and he was a new talent, and he was one of those wrestlers that he got a lot of hype and a lot of love behind him pretty quickly from the fans, right? And a lot of fan support. And he just needed someone to kind of like edit him and kind of mold him and be like, okay, like this, and that, not baby him in that in a negative sense, but kind of like almost like what they do in NXT, like guide you and say this is what to do, this is where to stand, and kind of like that, just because like you're new, right? And that was his first time on weekly TV and his first time really getting that level of stardom and going off with MJF as a perfect foil, and they just really dropped the ball. And then after that, they tried to do something like when he cut his hair and stuff like that, and to give him a little bit more of an edge and a little bit more focus, but it's just been, I don't always say start and stop with him, just more just like kind of like pedaling a little bit, and then just he just took a like a right turn and everyone else continued straight, and like he's just out there like pedaling along somewhere, and like we haven't seen him, he hasn't made that turn back, or like we haven't made that right turn to go get him, you know. It's just kind of like he's just kind of out there. CB, you say Dustin Rhodes should be booking AEW. Yeah, I don't know. Tony Khan just needs help, and it's not even a negative thing against him. Everyone needs help. And I was watching, well, it's, judge me if you want, guys. It was on Netflix, a new documentary, Jerry Springer. I put it on because I thought it'd be interesting, and it just wasn't. But it was like, it just didn't hook me after like the first like 20 minutes into it or whatever. But one of the things that one of the women had stated, who was like I don't know if she was like a like a quote unquote writer, or like a showrunner or whatever. I don't know her exact title, but she had said something and it made me think about AEW, because she was like, the executive, like the main producer guy, the main like control, the showrunner. I don't know any other titles, but the main guy running the show, he can't do it all. And even if he knows how to do it all, he physically can't do it all, because the show itself is a monster, and you need a team, and you need people to delegate stuff to, and you need people to help you. And I just remember sitting there thinking, and you need stories. That was the other thing that someone, like one of the guys that said that really changed the direction of the Jerry Springer show, because it started off as just like another regular talk show that like 15 other people had, but nothing made them stand out. And he was like, as he was flipping through the channels, you need something that as you're flipping through with no sound, something visually that's going to make you stop and grab you. Again, completely different era. We're not flipping the channels at this point, but the point is, you need something to where if you have no sound, that's going to visibly and like physically connect you, right? Like without being able to audibly hear it. So that was their mindset, and kind of like how like the whole like version of like the change in the new version of the show went. He was like, he at one point, like he had been writing for like national, like I don't want to know if it was like the National Enquirer, but like some like those dirt cheese, you know, like those random like bullshit magazines that like Bigfoot spotted on the highway, or like some dumb shit like that, you know. Like he was one of those guys that wrote like those crazy headlines, and he was like, you need something that's outlandish. So, but the main focus point too was, you need something that's outlandish but that hooks people but makes sense, and gets them coming back weekly. So bringing that back to AEW, if that's Dustin Rhodes, cool, but I don't think they just need one individual person. They need a team. Like they need a collaborative effort, right? Like they need your Dustin Rhodes, your John Moxleys, your Chris Jerichos. Like I think Big Show, like Paul White is still there. Like you need all of your Dean Malenko, all of your veteran and your new talent as well. You need a hybrid of people. And not saying like all these people should necessarily be writing out the shows, but you need a collaborative effort. And again, not like the whole roster either. Get like a solid handful of 5 to 10 people that you trust, and that you trust their values and their opinions, and just to bounce ideas off of, kind of like a roundtable, and be like, yo, this is what I'm thinking for the next 6 months. What do you guys think? And you can have someone like Dustin be like, well, where's the continuity? Or if you do this week, like just kind of like breaking it down, and not afraid to be like, okay, like that's cool, but we can do this, or vice versa. We're like, no, that sucks, you know. So I always thought someone like a Kevin Nash would be great to kind of be brought in, because one dude who doesn't give a shit about what anyone thinks about him or making friends or anything like that, it's a Kevin Nash and, RIP, but Scott Hall, I think, would have been just like a great wrestling mind as well. But Kevin Nash too, like I think he'd be like a great enforcer type. So I just think like a collaborative effort. And again, like still have Tony Khan be like the end all be all, which for better or worse, but he is the man. Like he is what got all this going, and he does have a good vision. I think it's just there's just so much going on, and I think he just has so many masters that he's trying to please in a lot of ways, and in the sense that he's just trying to, like, he has so many visions that he wants to see through that sometimes they get tangled, and I think that's kind of the issue that we're running into. What up, Cruising with Kayfabe podcast? You say that's a dope Tupac Cody. Thanks, y'all. Thank you. I appreciate it. Here's the full thing so you can see. Speaking of RIP to one of the GOATs, Tupac, man. Mike, you're funny. You're funny, bro. Sean, yeah, talked about Callis there a little bit. But yeah, Maria, thank you. I forgot to get back to that. But having Ospreay come out and help Kenny Omega with in the standoff and the face off that they did, leading into the cliffhanger that I got sidetracked on, was so well done. And I think that is a nice starting point too, because we all know the story and the history between those two guys, right? But they have a couple common grounds, and like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. And they have that with the Don Callis family for sure, but I think they could also have that in Jon Moxley and the Death Riders, because Ospreay is that solid babyface, right? Like he is that guy that makes you believe, and he is for AEW. We're the best wrestler. Like he's the Kool-Aid is in his veins at this point, right? So he's living it. He's breathing it. He's doing it, right? Like he's having these kick-ass matches for AEW and putting his body on the line. So he can be that guy to really make a case and to want to make a case for saving AEW, right? So I think long term, like they can veer back towards the main event route and to be the guys to want to dethrone Moxley and the Death Riders and all that. So I really like that pairing as well. And thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, Mike, he beat Gabe Kidd, exactly, and no reference. But guys, we will be winding down here. I just wanted to scroll through and see any last comments or anything else that I may have forgotten. But thank you so much for bringing it, or for bringing it up. I was reading a comment. You had mentioned, I saw the word bringing. But you said Vince does what's best for business. If he was there and bringing in Fatu was best for business, he would have dude brought back for that one chick years ago. That's getting into it there. And Maria, you said, is it weird the way AEW have been very quiet, or it is weird, rather, the way AEW have been very quiet about Wrestle Dynasty? Just no mention, dude. Just like no mention. It's like why? Like, I just don't understand. And again, that's why I'm giving them benefit of the doubt. It has to be something with their new partnership or whatever. But then it trying to be devil's advocate, if that were the case, like if for whatever reason they couldn't promote it, like how can you then provide your talent to be on the show? So it's just I don't understand. But yeah, Mike, like they had such a fucking dope match. Like why? Like why no reference? So that's why I'm just kind of at a loss for that. Anthony, say hi. What up, Anthony? What up? Thanks for popping in, bro. Appreciate that. Is next week's Dynamite named? That's what I was. Is next week's Dynamite named? Oh, it is the Maximum Carnage. It is next week. God, fucking crazy. It is the Maximum Carnage. You're absolutely right, Andrew. Next week's Dynamite is named. So it is. Thank you so much for bringing. I didn't even realize that was next week. I thought we still had a week out, but it is because that's the one that's in Cincy. So, and again, that makes sense too because we have the. Thank you so much, man. I'm glad I saw that. It is. I thought we still had 2 weeks out. It's fucking crazy. But that's why we're getting Will Hobbs versus oh my gosh, Jon Moxley for the championship. They're in Ohio, which is Jon Moxley's home state. But yeah, it should be like a good show. And we are getting Kenny Omega as well. We're getting Omega versus Brian Cage. And then speaking of the cages, we have Christian Cage versus Hook. I think let me go up to the official breakdown. God, I can't believe it's going to be the 15th. I feel like it was just the beginning of the year. Again, time is a crazy concept. Yeah, so the full, the full preview for next week. Again, we have Christian Cage versus Hook, Kenny Omega versus Brian Cage, the Cage brothers, unofficially. And it's kind of funny now because Brian Cage has a beard, so it's just kind of funny. He could be like Christian's son or some shit. Not really, but just funny. But then of course we're getting the main event, which I'm assuming will be the main event. Jon Moxley facing off against Powerhouse Hobbs, which I was not expecting Hobbs to win the match. So props to him, and I like that he's getting a moment to shine. Obviously, don't think he's going to pull out the victory, but it should be a good match. And I'm excited to see those two styles clash. And I like that Hobbs mentioned in the ring to Renee that Moxley had a big hand in getting him into AEW and into getting him into the company and into the profession. So he's looking forward to the match, but he's still gonna make Moxley his bitch. So I love that, because then Renee's face was like, okay, that's my husband, without saying it. And I'm not even gonna get on this soapbox right now, but the fact that Renee, unless I miss some like Hey EW thing or backstage segment or whatever, how she's not really addressed the crazy shit Moxley has done and is doing is just weird to me. But we also do have the Women's Casino Gauntlet match. The winner of that gets the World Championship shot at Grand Slam Australia. So we'll see if our new girl Toni Storm can figure out a way to make it to Australia, because she lost the match this past week. So we'll see if she's able to figure out her way onto the card, because that new up and comer, man, like she has a lot of potential, that Toni Storm does. I see a lot of big things for her. One may say she could potentially be timeless at one point. I just think she has that big of a possibility and that big of a future. So we'll see. We'll see. But guys, we will be officially, where's Miro? Wrapping up here, and Ricky Starks. I just bought a Ricky Starks shirt. It's in the mail, so I don't know where Ricky Starks is, but his shirt will be in my possession momentarily within weeks. Yeah, TK does have like 20 riders. He said that he has like 24, I think, at some point. Stephanie Chase and I had joked about on a show we did on Fightful a few weeks back. And yeah, Mike, who is AEW's Pat Patterson, is a very good question, and a very good man. I don't know. And I think that could be telling. Again, to be fair, they very well could have a Pat Patterson, like a finished guy, someone that really like sees stuff through, and we just don't know about it. So there is possibility. I'm not gonna say like we know everything and we don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Mike. You agree with me bringing Kevin Nash, just because Kevin Nash is that dude. Like, he'll give you. I feel like, and again, I don't agree 100% with everything Kevin Nash says or does or whatever. But I just think that I've just, since AEW started, man, and just since Kevin Nash started doing his YouTube show, and again, like I don't even watch it weekly or haven't seen it in I don't even know how long. I don't even know if I ever watched a full show, but I've seen like little excerpts and stuff, and just listened to some of his takes on some things and just following him on social media. And again, like I don't even think he has as big of a presence as on Twitter around. And again, I just don't even know. I don't even know if I still follow him at this point. But getting back to that, he's one of those guys that, again, he say what you want about him in WCW and all that stuff. But I think at this point, it's not like he's going to be jockeying to be the champion, right? And to be the heavyweight champion. So I think he could just be one of those guys who's just a straight shooter and be like, nah, dude, like that shit sucks. Or yeah, man, like definitely do that. Or do this, but also do this. Or just kind of tweak it a little bit. I just think he could have a really good like mindset and just, I don't know, just like really help the product out. I just think it could, like, why not, And again, not even saying that any of these guys, if they have any feedback or 2 cents, you have to go with it. It's just sometimes more stakes, right? More stakes in the flame and stuff like that. Like, it just really benefits more and you get more sizzle, Um, You say thoughts on NWA rap group, bro. We don't have time for all that right now, man. I love, like, I'm a big fan of, like, West Coast, as odd as it is, like, back in the day, man, like, Eazy-E, like, all those, like, of course, Snoop, but I was, again, like, not gonna get too much into it, like, Wu-Tang, I was kind of, like, all over the map, I'm one, and it's kind of like me as a whole. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, I just like a little bit of everything. Like, I love, like, West Coast, but then, like, I also love, like, Biggie Smalls. Like, I never really bought into, like, oh, you can only like Tupac or Biggie. Like, you can't like them both. Like, I dug what I dug. And I dig what I dig. But yeah, man, like, NWA, NWA, and we don't have time to get into all that right now, bro. But definitely hit me up, and I'll remind me of that next time, and maybe like on the KickAsh podcast, we'll kind of dig into that and, like, the rap scene, and get into that, and, like, Ice Cube and all that, bro. Like, man, the '90s were prime, bro. I'll just kind of leave it at that. '90s were prime. Um, thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you popping in, Sean, Sai, everyone, man, Eddie, Azan, all of you guys for popping in. I really appreciate it. We, of course, went longer than the show is supposed to go. Um, e, ba-ba-bum. And E says RVD is live at 7 p.m. Anyone who wants to know, disclaimer, they tend to be a few minutes late. They are not late. We are just early for RVD. So gotta get that out there. But yo, like, yeah, if anyone needs a reminder for fucking Rob Van Dam, bro, like, yo, RVD is the shit. So props to him, and shout out to him. Like, I just talking about RVD really quick. I loved, and this is the most random shit, right? And probably nothing anyone else would ever think is their go-to, but I loved his matches with Jeff Hardy, especially back in the early, like, 2000s, like, when a lot of people talk shit about the invasion angle. I loved it. Young Ashley loved it. So the hardcore match he had, I think it was the invasion. Yeah, it was the invasion pay-per-view, because they had it was almost like a V type setup for the ramps. The Alliance side, the WCW, ECW guys are coming out on one side, the WWF guys are coming out on the other. And I believe Jeff Hardy was the hardcore champion going into it. And they just had this fucking dope match, dude. Like, I loved their interaction. They had such good chemistry. And I loved how similar they were, but different too. Like, it was, man, like, I'm probably gonna go back and rewatch that. So shout out to RVD, man, and props to him. Like, yo, like, one of my all-time faves for sure. You also said Big and Pac would still be alive if they just talked instead of fight immediately. Yeah, man, then you got Suge Knight, you got, like, the whole, like, and the whole, like, DD, like, that whole, it's just a lot that gets into it, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. We don't have the time on this show, but we could definitely chat about that for sure, because I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts. But, again, he's not late. We're just early to the show. We're just early. And CB saying WWF Invasion 2001 is on Netflix. There you go, guys. A plug if you needed one. E say that'd be a real cool episode if you was a guest host, or, oh, bro, like, what? Put that into the universe. Yeah, I would be honored. I would be honored. And probably, like, kind of like a little, like, starstruck a little bit. Not even gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. That's why I was saying, like, it's just so dope to just even be, like, included in the lineup, and just to be, like, just here, like, bullshitting and talking with you guys. Say Suge out in 2034. Is it 2034? Like, that'd be wild. I read something too before we sign off here, that we are now, like, 2025 or 20, or back up. 2025 is now the same amount of years away as the year 2000 is. 25 years from now, obviously, will be, or I said that wrong, 2050. Let me back up. Have I been the one smoking? At 2050, rather, is now the same amount of years away that 2000 was, which is just fucking crazy. Like, obviously this is the year 2025 now. So to think that 25 years from now is 2050, and then 25 years ago was 2000, was just like kind of mind blowing when I read that, and I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, just crazy. But thank you all. Thank you all so much for popping in, for interacting, for all your takes, all of your input. I truly appreciate it, for liking the show. I went terribly long, but it is what it is. I appreciate you guys for popping in. Please feel free to subscribe to the show if you have not done so already. Feel free to check out my show, KickAsh Podcast, and subscribe over there on YouTube if you would like to do so as well. You can follow me on Twitter at the handles right there. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be on next week live, but if not, I'll definitely be back the following week, every Saturday around 10 a.m. live Eastern time frame. So definitely feel free to pop back in. And again, I appreciate you guys so much for joining in here. Until next time, my friends, stay safe out there and enjoy some wrestling, guys. Take care.